How are you doing today, Kaylnn?
Oh, the ship is finally sailing and I'm in good spirits.
I love that, whatever that means.
How are you doing?
Good enough. I'm your host, Crystal.
And I'm Kaylnn.
And we're doing just fine.
Okay, so today we have a very special guest, our very first guest in this podcast. Woo! And her name is Kaylnn.
Hi.
And we'll just have you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you, what you're up to, who you are, what your favorite books recommendations are.
Whoa.
Flinch. Books.
Well, my name is Kaylnn. I'm 5'3". I'm a Leo, and I am also a speech language pathology student studying at a university, getting my master's degree.
Ooh.
As for book recommendations, may I direct you to a little site called As far as book recommendations, I don't read.
Woo. Okay, girl.
Because you're social media literate instead. It's fine.
It's true. It's true.
It's fine. There are other sources of books.
No, that makes me look stupid. I do read. I just don't.
You just don't want to pretend.
I just don't want to tell you.
Oh, that's
Why
fine.
would you say book recommendation?
I'll start first. Dramini.
Oh, we're going there. Vice lady.
And there you have it, folks. Check those books out somewhere on the internet.
Anyways.
Okay.
Anyways, Kaylnn.
Hi.
Okay, so you're in speech pathology. Tell us a little bit more about how you got here, In our community, at least for us, within our family, we have the expectation to be either a nurse or a doctor, nothing else. It's just either or. You have to pick, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't pick or. But you're not doing either of those.
Yeah, so I actually chose to major in speech pathology when I was a senior in high school.
That's pretty early.
It is early, but honestly, my reasoning for it was we had a school college fair, and I had to apply. If I wanted to apply for free, I had to choose a major and everything. And I had heard a little bit about speech pathology. I didn't know much about it, but I just knew it was medical, but not medical heavy. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that sounds interesting. I'll look into it later once I can always change my major. And that was my mindset going into it. I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, yeah, I mean, it's a good field. She was trying to push the nursing route because my mom's a nurse, and my grandma was also, she was pushing me to be a doctor. And I was like, no, I'm just going to break your heart right here. I'm not doing that. And Opa will still, my grandpa will still ask me about it too. So when are you getting your doctorate? I was like, COVID really got you bad, huh?
Dang.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'll tell you, my answer is always in 3 years.
Oh, that's a very specific timeline.
That's the track. He'll forget about it, and I'll just keep saying in 3 years, and he doesn't remember.
It'll always be 3 years, and you know what? 3 years will never come because 3 years in the future will always be 3 years in the future.
Exactly. But as far as being pushed into nursing, I didn't really get that much. It was just more okay, you're going into the medical field. As long as there's stability in that field, then you know what, just do what you gotta do. My mom's only condition was to go to a school affiliated with the religion that we're under. And so because of that, I felt pressured to attend a school that I didn't really want to go to. At the time, I said I wanted to go there. I don't, but I knew nothing about the place. And then I ended up pursuing that degree, and I hated my time there.
Ooh,
so
we
can get into that later. But I just felt, I think, more so pressure of the school part more than the career part, which is really confusing.
That is.
But it fortunately led me to stay on the speech path, which I honestly didn't realize that I would like until I was at the school that had the specialty for speech once I came home.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Crystal is also kind of in a spot. She told us last week that she is doing PR, right? But she was also kind of just like, yeah, I guess I'll do PR. And here she still is.
Oh, yeah. So I get that.
No, literally. Because people in school ask me whenever I take like my speech specific classes, they would be like, so what made you choose this field? And everyone had their own like passionate answers of like, oh, I was in speech therapy and I want to do this for like the little me and everything. And whenever they ask me my story, I'm just like, I just picked it because it said medical, but it said speech. I was like, those are two different things and I like it. At the time, I was really interested in English and I thought like there was some English component in it.
Yeah.
There is.
There is.
Heavy, but not like as much as I initially thought. So fun fact, I was actually pursuing an English minor when I was at said.
Oh, your undergrad.
At my undergrad school. And I like to pull that out as like a factoid with like my speech classmates because they're just like, whoa.
Wait, did you graduate with an English minor? Or did you drop it?
I dropped it.
Oh.
But I just said I was pursuing it. And then I never said that I actually completed it.
Wow, look, you're so committed to language.
Yeah, I think I had an interest in, that's ironic because I don't read.
Okay, wait. Can I just say the first thing that came to mind for me was a book recommendation for you. Okay, here's the thing. Let me just say, okay. If you ever just like are in that mood, because I'm also a mood reader, but like I think you would love Babel by R.F. Kuang.
I feel like you've told me about
I'm
this.
sure I told you. I tell everyone about this. But I think especially you that already sees the importance and the beauty of language and how our motor skills work. I think reading that book, there's like a newfound appreciation for language. Ever since I finished it, it was very like every time I speak now, I just think about like, where did that come from?
You're hyper
How
aware.
did that? Yeah. So I think you would love it if you ever get there.
Honestly, I might, because I can obviously finish books, but I really had to be in it.
Yeah.
I'll put that at the top of my list.
Yeah. Why did you drop English for your minor?
I think just at the time, it was a lot to take on. I think I was just going through it emotionally. I just wanted to get the degree that I came for and leave.
Yeah.
So I ended up dropping it because I was like, I'm not going to take on more than what I know I can handle. So it was just like, And my parents didn't know about it either, that I like started to pursue it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for anything serious either. It was, I think, just to refine my writing skills. And that helped a lot too, because once I entered my next program, they were like, it's heavy writing, heavy essays, heavy report writing. And that definitely came in handy once I was in school. So
wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to kind of talk a little bit more about your time in your undergrad and like Why was your experience not the best? You said you were like in a rush to come home. You're like, no, I'm over it. I don't wanna be here.
Okay. So the first year I went in at the end of 2019. And honestly, it was fine. I was really homesick still. But I was like, I need
change.
time away.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped for a while, and then COVID hit, and then I was forced to go home. And that was, everyone was going through it. And then summer of 2020 was really bad. So I remember 2019 when I had my send off, we were all crying together, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, having to leave in 2020 was so much harder because I was already going through a lot of loss at the time. I was like, I can't lose my family for the next year or so. So I was like, going back is going to be really hard. And it was. So that's when I dropped my writing minor.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, I'll get my associates over in said state, and we'll just come back home. I don't know what I'm going to do because technically I don't even have enough credits to attend this speech program here. They had told me, they're like, I don't think you could attend, my advisor there.
Yeah.
And then so that summer I came back, that was like 2021. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it was June already.
Oh.
So my parents were like, what are you going to do this entire year? I was like, I have no idea. Maybe I'll just like finish up at a different school and just to get all my credits in. And they were like, okay, that's fine. And then I had randomly contacted the school that I'm going to now. I contacted the advisor and I was like, hey, do you have any recommendations for classes that I could take outside? And she was like, you know what? You can just apply to our program now. And I was like, what?
Okay.
I love your advisor.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, I thought I needed the credits. She was like, you can complete the credits while you are attending our program because you just need it to graduate. I was like, okay, nobody told me that.
Oh.
And then so she's like, I'll open up the application for you right now. You have a week and just submit it once you can and you should be in. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
MVP. I love people like that.
And so that's how I got into the school because I just like randomly contacted.
As you should.
Thinking
Yeah.
with no intention of actually going.
Yeah.
So it kind of
worked
out for the best.
Wow. The stars just like aligned for you.
Yeah.
They did.
I mean, I literally remember the week that your application was due, we went to a coffee shop. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
We went to Starbucks.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, yes. Oh, we were going over my essay.
Yeah.
You really blocked that out of your
I
memory.
block a lot out. You
Oh
guys,
my
I don't know
God.
if you noticed.
I mean, I don't even remember that until you said, like, I had 1 week to submit my application. I was like, wait, I think I was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you guys were like helping me with my essay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Whoa.
That's so funny.
That's crazy. Oh, and that's also the week I got into a car accident because I was stressing so much over it.
It's not funny.
It's because I had gotten off the phone with my advisor from my previous school, and he was like, I don't know if I could get in your recommendation on time. I was like, you do this all the time, man. You keep lying.
You're just being mean to
And
me.
I got so stressed. I got into an accident of the parking lot in Central Plaza with my Oma in the passenger seat.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, I remember that. Oh my god.
Girl.
Yeah, I was stressed, dude.
Let me just say, I validate your struggles because they also did the same shit to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
They mess you up.
Yeah,
dude.
okay, just to preface everyone, me and Kaylnn attended the same undergrad university and we both experienced horrible things.
Trauma.
Internally.
Yeah. Literally, it was mostly internally.
Internal. Except for that one time that it went on the news for being racist. But that's not a me issue. Anyways.
My gosh.
I validate that because when your advisor said like, oh, it's not going to get in time, your recommendation is not going to get there. It's like, okay, but why did this other school say that they could open an application for me? I applied and I got it and you can't even send me a rec letter? Like,
Exactly.
that's doing too much.
I think it's because they wanted me to graduate there. I didn't walk and I didn't technically get my associate's degree there. Because I didn't complete any credits. I didn't complete all my credits. And I needed to finish them but before I was able to attend the program. So then they were just like, no, you need to complete it before you apply to this program.
That's weird. Well, let me tell you, as an advisor, previously an educational advisor myself, that's shady. It literally takes you like maybe like 15 to 30 minutes if you really want to put in a good record.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
and even if you don't, it's like something basic.
Yeah.
The person that's going to accept the rec letter can judge themselves, you
And
know?
yeah, I found out that the rec letter is sent after the application is sent too. So it's like the application was due for me, but the rec letter, it's like kind of on their own time. They get the email and it's like a fill in the blank form.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck.
Yeah.
They're just weird.
No, that's like, it's giving car salesman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know it's a scam, but it's also like, you're the cheapest one I can get.
I know. I know.
Like,
I know.
So I get
You're
that.
still holding my transcript, so I have to
Yeah.
kinda...
Yeah, that's what I hate the most.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially when it, I mean, maybe I'm just generalizing, but when it comes to more private schools, like they can either be really great, like people, like as far as like staff and like professors go, or they're just not.
Mhm.
You know who
You
are
know?
the great faculty staff advisors are at these private institutions? The ones who didn't come from private institutions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
of
yeah.
them.
The ones who don't associate with the denomination that they are
Mhm.
under.
Yeah,
usually.
they were really nice about it. I
Mhm.
think they just understood like the struggles you're going
Yeah.
through, you know?
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
not-
like some private schools are just so like, let me just give you a little bit something about myself. Literally, there was this math class that I could not pass.
I get you, girl.
Literally
I get
could
you.
not pass.
I'm
Oh.
not STEM, I'm STEAM.
Oh my god.
I'm out of steam, bitch.
But like, so I was like, you know what? I'm like not gonna do this at this school anymore. And then so I went to like a community college to take it. It was the best thing ever. Passed. So easy. The professor, so helpful. And you know what? She was actually studying, or she was like going through her PhD program or something. And she was studying the relationship between math and anxiety.
Wow.
I love it. I love it because yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Of all the
duh.
subjects. Yeah.
And like the school that I did not pass it at like a million times. Literally, listen, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just dumb. Because sometimes, yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But like, if there are at least half of your students per class that's not passing multiple times, don't you think maybe your curriculum or the way you're teaching is a problem?
Mhm. It's a skill issue on your end.
Obviously.
It is.
Like,
It is.
anyway.
But yes, I agree. It's usually the professor that needs to fact check themselves, or they need to check themselves, because that's
Yeah.
happened, I feel like, to at least one person I know in each of my friend groups.
Right.
That just happens in
Right.
every, yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay, so we've strayed a little bit from talking about you, talking about the path, whatever, but that's fine. That's what
It's
this
okay.
is.
It's okay.
This is friendly talk, get
Yeah.
to know each other. Okay, so kind of going back to your career path, I mean, honestly, you hit like a lot of my questions at once. I was like, what am I supposed to say now?
My bad.
No,
I could elaborate more.
No,
too.
it's fine. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So you kind of touched about on this earlier when you're like, okay, I'm just choosing speech because it's not really nursing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a doctor like your parents expected, but it's still within healthcare, right? And so maybe from someone from the outside, I'm sure some people could look and be like, oh, well, you're still in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's still fine.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like speech, because you're the first person that I know who also doing speech. So I'm very cool. So what do you feel like people kind of misunderstand what it means to like follow the expected path, right? Because you kind of did, but you didn't. So you're almost in a way like making your own path
within the path.
Traditional path.
Right.
Like
right.
That's so weird. It's so...
I see what you mean.
Yeah, like what is that like?
Well, it's weird because whenever I do tell my family about things going on in speech and stuff, whenever I tell older people about speech, they kind of have this assumption because they're nurses, they work alongside a lot of speech therapists. So they have this assumption that I'm working with stroke patients, that I'm working with people with swallowing problems. And the thing is, I forgot. That's like such a gagged.
The gag she gugged.
The gag she gooped. So I keep forgetting that swallowing isn't part of a lot of people's just like everyday.
Right.
Dude, I took a class called swallowing, guys, and it was so hard to keep a straight face the first week. And I was just like, okay, that's cool. They're like, so this is how you swallow properly. I was like, oh, you're going to show me. Nice.
Oh, just so you know, I've seen those people on TikTok. This is how you do it correctly. What are we talking about? Which one are we talking about? It's like, when you have your patients, okay, next question.
And because it's crazy. They're just like, these are some maneuvers you can do to do it better. Rehabilitation and everything. I was like,
So like at one point, did somebody just and like feel you swallow?
no,
Is swallowing the nurse's version of, what is it called? The vein.
It's like
the shots. Yeah, the practice shots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to come in?
They're just like, the point is you can't choke. And I was like,
not the kids! The children.
Cardi B.
So a lot of them are under the assumption that I work with patients that, have problems like that. And yeah, that's a big part of it. And I think that's a part of it that a lot of people don't even recognize about the field, because to a lot of outsiders, it's just, oh, you play with kids all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to my family, it's, oh, you work with patients all day. So I thought that was really weird because that's not necessarily something that I was ever interested in doing.
Swallowing?
Yeah. and like, I guess language, but more with like adult language. And I was like, I don't like working with adults.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
So it's just like, any stroke patients, they just assume I work with adults. But my interest is working with like preschool kids and, or in like elementary and stuff. So yeah, playing with kids. Yeah. I'm not beating the stereotype. But whenever I tell them that that's not my niche, that's not my interest, they're just like, so then what do you do? And then I'll explain it to them and they'll just be like, so you're like a teacher who gets paid more. And I was like, well, yeah, kind of.
And what about
Yeah.
it?
And I was like, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a whole like developmental language part of it that interests me much more than like if it was like someone got into an accident and got brain damage and stuff like that. Because that is medical heavy. And I was like, I'm not
I'm
not
not
about
medical
that.
heavy.
So it's, I think just changing people's expectations in that way. And just kind of telling them like, you know, we're still actually needed here.
Yeah.
So I think just kind of reassuring them that this career path is stable. I think that's always what they're seeking, stability in a career path, even if it's not nursing or medical or something like that. They're just trying to be like, oh, okay, just as long as you can fend for yourself, I guess. But it is weird to have to constantly explain myself about what I'm doing, what I'm going to school for, what I'm interested in, and how it's more education-based, in my opinion, than it is medical-based.
Oh, so you are the positive evolution of a teacher.
I would like to think so. We work a lot with teachers. Yeah. But again, that's like not the only thing that speech therapists can do. At some point, the part of the field that interested me was voice disorders.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
What's
and
that?
so it's essentially I guess like if you have a voice disorder, or it's just like, have you heard trying to think of examples of
Michael Jackson.
voice disorders. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that was a choice.
No, he's just always soft-spoken.
Yeah, or it's just like vocal
That was more
damage and
vocal,
stuff,
yeah.
vocal hygiene.
Yeah.
Like something a vocal coach would do, but it's more medical.
More science-based.
Yeah, science-based vocal coaching.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that had piqued my interest like way in the beginning when I was signing up for it, because I was like, oh, voice and stuff. I think at that point I was like really wanting to work with a vocal coach, because I was like, oh, I just want to improve singing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know when like psych majors want to go into psychology because they want to like find what's wrong with people and stuff? No, you just want to find out what's wrong with you. So that was like my approach in like that area of speech, because I was like, I want to become a vocal coach for myself kind of thing. Turns out I'm not good at that. That was like the worst class that I performed in, so I don't know if I'll be doing that anytime soon.
So
like,
you
nah.
switched from voice to swallowing.
No, I was never interested in swallowing. But I had to take the course.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was so confusing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we all swallow.
No.
Okay.
But yeah.
You know, when you're like talking about voice and like voice, I was gonna say voice acting, vocal coach stuff.
Yeah.
So I know there's not just like vocal coaches for singing, but there's also like vocal coaches for like accents. Is that something is that part of speech pathology? You know, like tell us more about that.
Yeah, it is actually. So this was one of the most, I'd say it's pretty interesting because accents are fun and cool, right?
Very cool.
And we all come from families with really thick accents. So I actually took a class that was like, it was called like accent modification at first, but the language of that was really controversial, because it's like modifying accents is like you're trying to change a piece of someone that's like
It's like gentrification.
It's part of their culture and stuff. So it's like you don't want to modify, you want to say you're adding to their Rolodex of language and whatever. So they renamed it to Instructions in American Dialect. And then so it's just like adding to your toolbox, essentially, where I had to find a client with parts of their accent that they would want to change, and I had to work with them over like a few sessions in a month. Yeah, so we had to fix their accent, but we couldn't say we're fixing their accent. Yeah.
So you did it with consent.
Yeah.
Because they wanted this.
Because they like, I don't like the way I say this word. How can I change that kind of scenario?
But because that prompt was controversial, I just told the person that I ended up working with, like, hey, this is for a school project. You don't have, obviously, like, I'm not trying to change your accent or anything. We just want to add to your dialect to see if we can do therapy, essentially. Like if we could do this with clients that want to. Because I couldn't find anyone that wanted to change their accent, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's a touchy
tough
subject.
Yeah.
So I ended up working with Oma. She was very willing and she was very sweet about it.
She said, yes, I want to speak English more.
She didn't even know what the project was for. I was like, I told
yes,
her.
my granddaughter.
I told her, I was like, just do what I say. And just go along with it. And because we had to record videos and present it. So it was tough because I wouldn't say I was like lying in the presentation either, but I was like, oh, she wanted to change these parts of her accent and everything. And I felt really bad for saying it. And like, I felt bad even like teaching her these things because I was like, she's fine with it. But I did talk to her about like, if her accent has ever been a barrier in just her like daily living or whatever. And she was like, yeah, it has, because, you know, she was a nurse and she worked in the hospital, and a lot of the times she would have trouble communicating with her patients because she had a thick accent, even more so before than she did now, because this is before she had grandkids.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, some of her patients would be like, oh no, I don't want to work with this nurse because, you know, she had an accent and stuff. Yeah. And they couldn't understand her.
But they're the best ones.
Yeah.
The ones with the accent.
The thing is, now, I feel like nowadays, they're like, get me that Asian nurse.
Yeah.
Because they know what they're doing.
Like, this is when it was still stigmatized.
Yeah. So I think that was like something that I took away from the class, just listening to that experience. And I think just taking away that accents are a very polarizing subject, and you should never approach it with like, oh, I'm trying to come in to change something. But if someone wants to come in and be like, hey, I want to change the way I speak in a work setting so that they could understand me better, we can help with that.
Interesting.
Okay.
I've never known.
It's a very versatile field.
It is. Honestly, you can find a niche for everyone, I think, in that field. Because if you're not into English or language, there's always the medical side. And if you're not into that, there's always the educational side and just a lot of different fields within the field.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's like when you're talking about accents, right? Like now I'm thinking back of all the times when I'm like, when has someone spoken to me and I'm like, what are they saying? Right? And I feel like as an Asian growing up, you know, with all of our parents, all of our family, our community, all have like, I guess you could say that an accent, or they speak English with an accent. They speak just fine, honestly, like as fluently as me. Exactly. Right? As anybody else. It's just, but I think what's interesting is like, because we're used to hearing accents, when somebody else comes in with an accent, it's easier to understand what they're saying, right? Because like your brain, or at least for me, like my brain processes what they're saying, even if they don't completely say it in the way that I would. But when I'm with how to say
White.
yes.
It's just white.
Okay.
It's just white.
When it comes to like white people, right? When I'm with white people, and I'm with them, like they definitely have such a hard time trying to understand what they're saying. And then like they would say like, oh my gosh, wait, what did they say? And I would tell them, and I'm like, did you
translate
not
that?
hear that?
Mhm.
Like what? Like it's
I mean,
huh?
not to like diss. I'm like not even trying to diss like white people. I think it's also like when we grew up with a lot of different accents.
Mhm.
It's not just like even like your guys' parents' dialect is different from my mom's. And so whenever like everyone would meet up, we would always try to like there are like words here and there that they don't say the same way. And so I think growing up we were really good at piecing things together.
Yeah.
Because we'll hear that, and then when we go to school, even like our friends' parents had accents and they were not the same as ours. And so I think growing up we were just really good at picking things up quickly because of that. And like for people who don't speak another language, or I almost said don't Duolingo. For people who aren't multilingual. It's harder because they've only ever heard it one way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there's like variations of how you say, I don't know, a couch,
a beach,
a
Yeah.
sofa,
Yeah.
a bitch, you know?
Yeah,
like so many ways.
I think that's the benefit of being bilingual, and there's so many. there's so many benefits to it, right? But it's just being able to understand, because it's also just piecing things together from context. And I think when you're monolingual, you only speak one language. Like you just don't have that skill set. And not that that's a bad thing, it's just there. Yeah, bilingualism. I actually saw a TikTok challenge where it was just like, can you guess what these words are based on the accent? I'm not gonna like spell it out, I'm not gonna say it, just based on this Filipino accent. Mind you, I'm not Filipino, but they were just saying Filipino words or English words in a Filipino accent, and you just had to guess the word, right? And like I was able to get all of them right, and that's to my own horn. And I was looking at the comments, and they were just like, I fully thought it was this word, or fully thought that it was a different word. And I was like, for example, they would say jodren, right? What is that? What is that?
I don't even know.
So I saw a lot of comments that said it was children. But the answer was deodorant. And I was like, I knew that. But I look at the comments and they were wrong. It's just like benefits of bilingualism, you guys. I'm not Filipino. I thought it was, I was so proud of myself. You guys have to understand.
Dang, now I hear it in Jover's mom's voice.
I hear my friends Lolas.
I see it, I hear it, I'm seeing her.
I'm so proud of you. That's not easy.
Well, because also I'm studying language like that. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's like when British people say aluminium. What the fuck is aluminium? Aluminium, the thing you put with your food.
ito kan foil.
Aluminum foil. Bro, get it right. Damn.
Anyway.
Oh man, I just see her in my head.
We miss you.
She'll be back.
She's coming home. She's coming home.
She's coming home, and you know what? So for her, something she always says, and Jover's family always makes fun of it. She says, "Oh my gosh, what does she say? Oh, I'm losing it."
He's not.
What?
He's busy.
Jover. Oh, he's listening to a class. Babe, what does mom say? The what you... Oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Ah,
That's so cute.
Wait, okay. Okay, we're on this. Okay, something that my oma was saying to my dog last week, because my dog likes to jump and kiss people, right? She's like, "No, Kuhio, you're not going to kiss me."
Why was that Russian?
That's what I was like. I was like, why was that such good English in that one sentence?
she says it all the time.
Oh, no.
Man, you just sound like me trying to do a Filipino accent that becomes Russian.
You know what? I feel like that's just our default like accent now.
Russian.
Every time we try to do some sort of accent, it just goes to Russian.
I don't know why.
It's just easier that way. I think everyone has like that accent, that sentence they use to practice accent. I feel like that's your Oma sentence. Because let's say like we're trying to like tap into like certain accents, right? Let's say Russian, because that's the first thing I thought of.
Oh, we all have a
Vodka, borscht, vodka, the other day.
Mine is, you're going to be here for a while.
Vodka, borscht.
And can I say what the roots of that are? It's from the Muppets movie. It's Tina Fey as the prison guard, and she's Russian. So my default sentence is, you're going to be here for a while.
She's crying, guys.
She's crying. Why you crying?
Why are you crying? What's wrong with you? Selalu menangis.
Why is selalu sad?
Guys, this just happens a lot.
This is normal.
Sabe.
Sabe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
That derailed really fast.
breathe in, breathe out. Ay nako, chicken nut bread.
I thought you were gonna say that.
Wow, that was a fun moments of laughter.
Wow.
Okay, so to kind of conclude, right, let's get into the last questions. So, Kaylnn, looking back, right, what would you tell others who might feel like the pressure to follow the safe career choices that their community expects? Although yours is generally pretty safe, but it's still not.
I would say that if you think you're capable of it, do it. Even if it is a safe choice. I want to say I'm very fortunate to have chosen one that has a lot of versatility, and I could do a lot with that degree. And it's not the same, obviously. Like, a lot of medical field careers are very one track, but I would say if you don't think you're gonna hate it, just do it. Because to me, success isn't necessarily finding a job that, yes, even though I am passionate about it, I'm not the type of SLP that's gonna make an Instagram about their career, and I'm not overtly passionate about it. And that's fine. I find passions in other things. To me, it's just a career. It's just a job. Yeah. And as long as I don't hate it enough to want to leave, then I'm fine doing it if I could still pursue other side hobbies
Yeah.
and other interests.
Yeah. And then eventually you make your side hobbies your main thing. And then speech is just like on the side.
Well, also to be fair, like your career shouldn't be your identity either.
That's
so
the
I
thing.
respect that.
Yeah.
That's a great take.
And I think we always like say too, like, you know, as long as your career or your job isn't mentally, physically, and emotionally killing you and you're okay, like, why not? You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So now it's really like the last things. Now we'll really try to conclude. Okay, so if you could go back, if you could go back and give advice to your past self at the start of all of this, right? Whether that was in undergrad or when you started this graduate program, what would you say?
I would go back to talk to my high school self.
Ooh.
And I would say you do not need to listen to your mama when it comes to listen to her. But when it comes to choosing the school, you don't have to go to a private institution and stuff because she can say it for herself too, that was not a good idea. Because obviously that did a lot of damage to me emotionally, mentally, and financially. So she'll tell me too. She's like, "Oh, you should have gone to a public school or a community college to get your credits, and then went to the school that you're going to now."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why you pushed so hard for me to go this route." And yeah, obviously that's on both of us. I can't fully blame her for that too because I chose to go, right? But if I could go back, I would be like, it's not worth it. Whatever you think you're trying to do to help yourself mentally, it'll only get worse. So I would probably suggest to just get your credits. Don't break the bank for that. Education does not have to be that financially taxing, and it shouldn't have to be. So that's my advice.
I love that.
To younger Kaylnn.
Okay, so now that we've addressed past Kaylnn, let's address future Kaylnn. That'll be fun. So
Oh, God.
Look at the camera, okay?
Hey.
And this is like a love letter to yourself, maybe 3, 5, next year, whatever, however far in the future you feel. Give yourself a little love note, a little love letter, words of encouragement of like, I hope you're here.
Okay.
And if you're not, that's okay, you know?
Okay. Hey, Kaylnn. So I'm going to be talking to you under the assumption that you are not living in your hometown anymore. So, let's see. Okay. I hope you're enjoying your career path and it's everything that you wanted it to be. If it's not, you have the power to leave, and that's fine. This world is too big for you to stay in one place. Are you okay? But if it's not fulfilling you in the way that you want it to, there are other options. The world is your oyster. Your family is the ocean. Pearly, Ariel, Sebastian. So, if you're fulfilled, great. If you're not, that's okay. Find another thing. Find another niche. I don't know. Maybe explore if you're not. Y'all okay?
That was like a drawing pot.
Jordan, ow. Anyway, okay. So if you're not still working with preschool kids, then cool. If that didn't fulfill you, then cool. There's always voice. Maybe you could try swallowing. Y'all. You could try accents. You could try stuttering. Oh, I'm making it worse for myself. But anyway, there are a lot of options for you. Don't feel like you're stuck in one thing because you are capable of so much more than where you're at right now. And that's what I gotta say. Bye.
Anyway, great message. I loved it.
Thank you.
That was so good.
Thank you.
Well, that was such a fun time. There's so much that I feel like we learned about, even like in speech, right? Like there's so much we didn't know. I'm sure all of our listeners are like, wait, you guys do that too?
Yeah. I'm so glad I could share that with you guys.
Yeah, that was very fun. And we're, just really glad to see that even though you're still within the traditional path, quote unquote, you're still finding your own way. I gotta go my own way.
And I guess I have but it's like, and that's the thing. It's like if you do feel stuck picking the safe option, just realize that there's still a lot more within the option that you chose that can fit your niche,
Right.
Like it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
So at the end, you're still forging your own path anyway.
Yeah. Like just do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You can always, like you said, quit.
Exactly.
Yeah, just
or like
quit.
find something else within that.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, again, thanks for having such a blast with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like we laughed a lot. We learned a lot, and we're just always
Loving.
live,
Live,
laugh,
love.
Live, laugh, love.
TJ Maxx, you know where to find us.
Oh, all right. Well, it's good to see that you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on our Doing Just Fine. It's so glad to see that you're doing just fine.
Thank you for having me. And I am doing just fine.
Yes,
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm your host, Kaylnn.
And I'm Crystal.
And we're doing just fine. Bye.